Hey everybody, long time no talk. This is Mike over here at Growtopia, and if you are new to the channel and new to the growing, and this is the first time you're seeing this video, I would say definitely please like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Comment below, questions, concerns, information, tips, tricks, who knows what. Well, if you guys remember my citronella plants, they look very brown. And my tropical birds of paradise, they look a little upside down. A little brown as well, and some other crap that's been sitting here is dead, obviously. But my banana's doing good, my coffee plant's doing good, and my lemon and my lime. And I got some other stuff growing on over here. I got some foam blocks, some salad microgreen stuff, some variety of microgreens, and magic word of the day, hydroponic nutrients, and also a bunch of things in this video. We're just going to get to it, so let's get going. So I hope everybody had a great 2025 growing season. I know I did. I learned a lot of things that I did wrong. I learned a lot of stuff that I did right. I learned a lot as I went along, and I didn't really make a lot of videos because I'm not just going to show you guys, constantly all my everything that goes great or some magical stuff. I'll show you, like, big harvests, or like, when I figured out I did something wrong, so that nobody makes the same stupid mistake. So one of the things I did, I would say, is one of my big mistakes I had of last year's growing season is I grew way too much. I was kind of got into this crazy mindset where I got to grow everything under the sun that I have. And I've spent a lot of money getting tons and tons of seed packets of everything under the sun that I could find and get my hands on. And it's great because I can grow literally anything, but the problem is just because you can grow anything doesn't mean you should grow everything. And being it's only two people that are feeding off of all this produce, vegetables and etc. And fruits, that it's really stupid for me to just overly plant stuff just so I can make a video on it and be like, hey, look at this, it's a weird flower pot potato. Like, no, it's stupid. It's a waste of the material. I mean, it's a waste of seeds, waste of the material, it's a waste of a lot of things. Water waste, it's a waste of the plant. Yeah, it's cool, and I can turn around and feed it to the critters and stuff, the wildlife, but that's not really why I'm growing it, and I don't want them to be accustomed to me growing stuff and then feeding them, and then they're going to constantly come back with their buddies, and then it becomes really bad, and then I'm trying to get rid of them off my property in the most humane way possible by yelling and screaming out there, which doesn't really seem to work. All it does is make my neighbors call the stupid, all my stupid neighbors do is call the cops on me. Let's word that the right way. The cops aren't the stupid one, it's the neighbors. So, last year, I just wanted to get those guys watered. What did I learn was, well, I planted way too much. Last year I also started in New Year's. If anybody is new to the channel, you can go back and check out New Year's. During New Year's, I started growing, literally January 1st, I started planting tomato seeds inside my whole grow room, inside my nursery, if anybody's new to it. Every stand on the bottom is storage. You have two shelves, you have a heat mat, you have lights, and then you have fans, and the lights stay on in the winter with the tropicals. So the lights stay on, the heat is off, the fans are off, and sometimes I'll turn the fans on if I need circulation. And this is a room inside my house. There's a small room that's a security camera that you're seeing right there. So that I can see what's going on in here when I'm not in here. And you could also see from here is the garden on what's left of it, so on and so forth. So last year I started my seeds early. Now, if anybody's watching this, and I don't want to make this into a super long video, but if anybody's new to the channel, it's the first time you're watching this, and if you're wondering, should I get into growing my own food at home, the answer is yes. But the thing is what to do, what to look out for, and, well, there's a lot of things. So if you own your own home and you don't live in an HOA, you can go as crazy as I did. I use an old swimming pool that caved in before I bought the house. It's like 70 foot by, I think, 30 or 40 or 50 foot, something like that. Might be even bigger than that. It's filled in with gravel. I lay down some soil on top of it, mixed it around, played around with it for a while, didn't do anything, put some beds on top of it, filled the bed, put the beds that are 10 inches high on the ground, and then filled them up with soil, compost, manure, leaves and shit. And now I have a constant growing system, and I make my own compost with kitchen scraps, leaves, and grass clippings, and I put them in the drums and I roll them. And then I put them in containers, and in the springtime I lay it out, I rake it in, and actually I got a new tool. So I got a tiller tool. It's a long shaft. I think it's a tiller. It's a tiller or cultivator. I can't remember which one it is. But my other guy that I have that I usually push, if anybody's seen that, now I got one that's on a long stick that's smaller, which is great, so I can get into like the beds where I can't do with the big guy. Big guy's good for doing like the fields of corn and stuff like that, and I do that as well. This year, I'm sorry, I keep saying next year, but this year I got a lot of cool stuff going. So if you're able to do this and you don't have an HOA and you don't live in an apartment, you don't live under any kind of restrictions, you could put a garden in your backyard or in your front yard. It doesn't matter where you stick it, as long as it doesn't conflict with the town. The best is to put it in your backyard and don't really tell anybody about it. And also make sure it's not a permanent structure, depending on which town you live in. Some towns like mine, if I don't get a permit and I put a permanent structure in my backyard, no matter what I'm using it for, they'll come after me tooth and nail because they're desperate for fucking money and they're bored out of their mind playing croquet. But in other places, you know, you can do that. In other places, you came and fart without them telling you, you know, you're doing it wrong, which is HOAs. If you live in an apartment complex, I would say ask what your apartment complex will allow you to do. You might be able to put a bed on the balcony, but then they're going to ask you about runoff because the beds are going to get water in them. So you don't want soil running off onto your neighbor's head. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I've had shitty neighbors before, so manure dripping on their head, I think would have been dynamite, but that could always be piped and put somewhere, you know, else, especially if you live on the top floor, balcony, second floor. Or you can even grow inside with hydroponics. So this year I'm going to be getting my hands wet with hydroponics. Now I'm not changing my whole system here. I still love planting in soil. I still love working with the soil. It's just I've seen two different sides of the things, and the hydroponics are really interesting because I noticed that they're more better for if you're growing, if you're in like an HOA and you gotta like hide your plants, your pot plants in the garage. I mean your edible plants in the garage, or like in somewhere in your house by a window or like a living room. Hydroponics would be the best for you because they're small shelving sections like these are, and you just stick them there. You put the water in them and nutrients, and if you're somebody who's busy and you're just kind of getting into growing stuff, I think hydroponics, I'm going towards hydroponics just to see what it's like. Even though I'm more prone with the soil. Because I've been doing it with soil. My only real answer to you for that. So we'll see exactly how that goes. So I guess hydroponics would be really best if you're in an apartment or you got an HOA. Unless they allow you to put up something, but I've heard a lot of HOAs are like worse than apartment complexes. You know, you try to stick something in your backyard to feed your family, and they're like, "That's not landscaping. Go fuck yourself. Go back to jerking off watching Oprah." All right. I could never live in an HOA. So I guess you would have to work with that. If you don't want to do hydroponics indoors like that, you could also do hydroponics outdoors. There's the towers, there's the shelves, and then there's like the little containers where you can grow your own stuff. And the little containers that sit on the table, I think, are cool for like if, you know, you have it in like an island, you know, an island in your kitchen, you just have it in the center. You have all your herbs right there, and it comes with grow lights. All you have to do is add water, you add nutrients, and you just have to plug it in somewhere. Those I think are really cool to have in a kitchen, to be honest with you. I don't have a big enough island to do that. If I had a really big kitchen, I think I would have a hydroponic herb unit in the center. It would be really cool. just because of that. And you can find them on Amazon. And the question is what's the right one to buy? What's the wrong one to buy? I'm going to be finding that out. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of scamming out there. And I say the best thing to really do is read the reviews on Amazon. Because for the past, 2 months, I've been returning shit back to Amazon like you won't believe, just because I stopped looking at the reviews. And it's everything. It's nothing plant related. It's like freaking miscellaneous crap and turtle tank related. Like, oh, I'll see a flower that looks cool. And then it gets to my house and it looks like, garbage. So it's like, what the hell is this? Send that back for $12. So that's what I'm going to be getting myself into this year is hydroponics. I'm not going to start planting anything for another couple months, in case you guys are wondering why I haven't really been talking about planting lately. It's not that I've stopped it or gave up on it or just quit. I'm not going to start planting stuff early until possibly somewhere in May. Because we got January, February, March, April, May. Maybe in April. I got to look. Maybe in April I'll start doing different stuff. Because this year I'm not going to be going crazy. So the past couple of years that I've been doing this, I've been going crazy balls to the wall, having a food jungle forest, which is great if I had a way of, if I was selling it or I had more people that live with me or I had a place that I was giving it out to, which I might end up, coming down the line, trying to set stuff up with nurseries and stuff to see if I could sell my plants to them before I get inundated with 12-foot tall tomato plants. And last year we had about almost 100. I didn't rip anything out of there this year. I'm not even touching the tomatoes. I'm letting them grow on their own. And if you ever look at a tomato, every time a tomato, you open one up, it has hundreds of seeds. So next year I might have over 500 tomato plants in a small area. So we're going to see what happens. And if that's the case, then I'm going to have to, the end of this season, I will have to clean it all up and start fresh. So being that there's only 2 people, I'm not going to be focusing on a lot of that stuff. I'm actually trying to figure out what I want to focus on this year, which is really interesting. Now, I've talked to a guy with squash and stuff like squash and gourds, and he was telling me a different way of planting them. So I liked the way he was doing it, which was pretty cool. So I'm going to imitate that, where he just literally raked the grass in his backyard, and then he sprayed the seeds out. He just threw them out into the yard. Freaking chairs rotate, and then took some topsoil and threw the soil on top of it, watered it once a week. Freaking squashes and shit. Oh, it's freaking cool. I was completely and utterly amazed and blown away that's why nothing was growing for me, was because they're getting water twice a day, sometimes once a day, for half an hour to an hour, in this area that everything else was flourishing in except for they were getting powdery mildew and everything, and it didn't seem like they were doing anything. But apparently the less you water them, the better. So that was pretty interesting. So I'm going to be doing that this year. Corn is not going to go into the same spot as it normally has been. There's a section of my front yard that I'm actually going to cut up with the tiller, and I'm going to put corn there so I don't see the road or my neighbor's house. I just see, a wall of freaking corn stalks. That's going to be, I'm going to like that better because then I can regulate it better, because last year having it inside the little corralled in area was really tough to try to do anything. So I definitely don't want it in there again this year, because that was just so hard to get in there and do stuff. I mean, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but it's super hard to do. I keep rotating. It's super hard to do when you're trying to do other stuff and you got to go in there and send away. I'm not going to indirectly grow tomatoes this year. I'm only going to focus on is I want to try to get some more bottom dwellers growing. I really like beets, and I haven't got a chance to get beets to grow. So this year I'm going to beat myself down and get beets growing. I've mastered brassicas except for cabbages and cauliflower, so those I'm kind of focusing on this year. I'll be focusing on a constant rotation of carrots. I like carrots as well. I'm also going to be showing you how you don't always have to take a seed packet and grow a plant from it. So I got some vegetables in my house that I bought from the supermarket, and I'm going to show how you could go from grocery store line out to your garden, and then from your garden onto your table. So show you how you could do that. I got all different types of stuff on how you can actually regrow what you buy from the store. And all you got to do really is just save the seeds from it. I cannot stop rotating so as the camera. Such as like here. This is, I know it looks very lovely, but these are tomato seeds that are here. These are some type of seeds. I forgot to label it, I have no clue. These are spaghetti squash seeds. These ones I know what they look like. And these guys are these are green, red, and yellow and orange pepper seeds. Also, I know what they look like, being I've dealt with them for a while. And those tomatoes, I think those were yellow plum tomatoes or yellow pear tomatoes. And then that container, I'm drawing a blank on what it is. Could be cucumber. I don't know if you guys can hear the camera as it moves. So basically I'm going to be focusing on minor things this year, and I'm not going to be going insane. So like last year we had 20 cucumber plants, which sounds cool, but the problem with having the 20 cucumber plants, this thing, I'm watching it now out of the corner of my eye. I'm watching it on the camera as it's freaking moving around up there. Hi buddy, how you doing? Like, I had 20 cucumber plants. That sounded really cool, right? Well, there's only 2 people, and I didn't realize how much cucumber was produced from one plant. So this year, I'm knocking everything down by each person gets their own plant. Not meaning literally. So there's only 2 of us. We're having two of each plant. Now, I don't know if that might work with you. If you're a first-time planter, and it's, let's say it's just you, your husband, and 2 kids, right? So try starting off with just 2 plants. Because the kids aren't really going to eat a lot. More like you and your husband or wife, whatever your situation is. You and your significant other, there we go, that covers everybody. And your children aren't going to really eat as much, but your significant other might. So I might eat the same amount or might eat more. What is that cable going to? Oh, the heater. Sorry, I got distracted here. I saw a mysterious plug with a yellow tag on it, just like dangling. It's supposed to be plugged into the back of the heating element unit. Okay, so start off with 2 plants per person. Now, if you guys like tomatoes, grow tomatoes. There's hundreds of varieties of tomatoes. The best tomatoes to really get into, if you plan on growing outdoors, is get indeterminate tomatoes. They grow indeterminately. And it will usually say on the back of the packet what they are. Let's see if I have some right here. I got stuff I got to put away. Like all these seeds I literally got to put away. I just didn't do it because last year I was just grabbing and planting and grabbing and planting. And it's just hundreds and hundreds of seeds that got to get put away. Let's see, here we go, this one here. Large cherry tomatoes. Now, here's the thing. If it doesn't say it, right, and it's not going to on this one. Yeah. Germination time 10 days, It doesn't say it. Some of them are going to say it, some of them aren't going to say it. The way to really tell sometimes if you're buying tomatoes is 90% of all tomatoes that you buy, like beefsteaks, Romanas, there are some determinate ones, but there is more indeterminate. Romana tomatoes, cherry, like large cherry tomatoes, but then there's also like tiny Tims, for an example, that's a determinate, only grows to 12 inches. I do have a video that goes through my book of tomatoes where it's like, I think it's like, I can't remember how many tomatoes plants in there, but there's a lot. There's a lot of different varieties and different colors. There's red, there's orange, there's yellow, there's purple, there's blue, There's green, there's striped, there's multicolored, there's white, yellow, if I didn't mention it already. Go down. If you go to, so let's say you want to start growing tomatoes. You just get 2 tomato plants, 2 cucumber plants. If you like celery, I'd say, you know, at least 1 plant, because celery will branch off. I know I got like this nose hair that's driving me nuts. Celery will branch off like fingers. So you could actually have 2 different celery plants. Plant one now and then plant one 6 months from now. If it's basil, you want at least 2 basil plants, maybe 3, depending on how much basil you use in your food. Same thing with parsley, same thing with rosemary. If you think about it, if you use a lot of basil in your food, and there's 2 kids and 2 adults, think at least 3 plants. Parsley, if you use a lot or not, it depends the same way. You know, basil on my end, I think we use more basil than anything else. So between basil for like the plants to protect them, I'll also have like, you know, 3 basil plants, 1 rosemary. I use actually sometimes I actually use rosemary more on my steak than I do with parsley. So I'll have like 3 basils, I'll have 2 rosemaries that are growing at 2 different stages. So by the time one might be almost depleted, if I pick it too much, and the next one's coming up, 1 parsley, 2 celeries, and then like different types of brassicas, such as like the lettuces stuff. You know, lettuces are great to have as well, depending on what type of lettuce you want. The quick, easy one, I would say it would be butter crunch lettuce. You're not gonna get the head. It grows like a leafy green. Okay, it grows up. It's all leaves in a section, and you just cut it, and it comes back really quick, and it's really good. And you could stick it on, you know, you put it on salad, or you can even stick it on a burger as well. I've done that on burger and tasted really good. So there's that. You could also get into pickling. If you're growing your cucumbers, you ever wanted to do pickling, cucumbers are very versatile with that. Zucchinis, also zucchini is really good if you like zucchini. And then it's also how you grow your tomatoes. If it's a determinate tomato, they don't need anything. They could grow like at this height. You can put them anywhere, and you can put them in a windowsill planter. You can put them in a bucket. You could put them out in a bed. They're very versatile wherever they go. But an indeterminate tomato grows indeterminately, meaning that it doesn't stop until the end of its growing season. So while determinates will grow to a foot long, indeterminates can be, like my tomato plants last year, they peaked at 15 feet on 2 of them. And how do I grow a 15-foot tomato plant? Well, I have strings. So the plant's at the ground, and they clip onto strings. And as the plant kept growing, I kept turning the coil at the top and lowering the plant down, because at 5'9", it's really hard for me to reach a tomato at 15 foot on a rickety ladder in a pile of cow manure. So it's easier if I just go up there and I turn the dial, get up on the ladder and turn the dial and bring it down. And then I could safely do that. I don't think I have any dials in here to show you, but I do have one on the ceiling, which is here. That's one of the dials I was talking about. This is not for demonstration. I was experimenting with growing a indeterminate indoors. I just never took it out of the ceiling, but it works great because whenever I'm explaining anything to anybody, I basically just have a sample of what I'm talking about right there. So it's right there in your face, a little one. Let's see, I'm trying to wrap everything up quick. I don't want to make this video longer than it already is. It's 23 minutes long. Watering. I was playing around with watering in the morning, water in the afternoon. I would say when it comes to watering your plants, water when you're able to. Don't stress out. If you don't want a morning water, then water in the afternoon. And try to pick a time and amount that you can. Now, if you're getting home really late at night and it's hard, you could buy timers that you put on your spigot, and you hook the sprinkler lines to it, however you're running it. If you're running it through a sprinkler system on your lawn, that's great. A lot of people say you shouldn't get the leaves wet. That is true to a point, because if it doesn't dry off, then you're more chances of getting powdery mildew on it, which is that white stuff that all you got to do is take whole milk and put it in a spray bottle and spray your plant. That's it. That's how I get rid of powdery mildew. Doesn't affect the plant, doesn't change the flavor of it. I did it on my cucumbers the year before last, and that fixed the problem. And the reason why they had a powdery mildew on my cucumber plants was just the leaves, was because I was watering too much at night, and during the day when there would be no sun out. So, but once I fix that by being careful watering, and you know, tomatoes and cucumbers, they like water a lot, so you could actually overwater them, surprisingly enough. So you actually want to kind of stretch things out. So like in the beginning of the season, you know, once the plants are done in here and they're ready to go outside, you know, they'll get watered, you know, 2 or 3 times a week, depending on the temperatures depending on the temperatures. The later in the season they get, the less watering. I think there was one point, like leading up to the end of the season, I was watering literally only on Sunday. You know, like I only water in the nursery on Sunday, and in the bedroom, I only water every other week. And if you guys are new to the channel, I'll take you a walk over to the bedroom so you guys can see. But this is where everybody starts, in here first before they end up in their location, wherever that's going to be. Either it's nursery. Camera, I'll see you later. Shut the light off. Let's head out to the bedroom. I don't lose the door in the process. So in the other section of my house is a dining room that we don't use because it's cold in here. So I ended up putting big wooden beds in here where I can start growing my own stuff. Now, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be doing for the new growing section of basically from kitchen to field is all going to go in here. So I got some kale that's growing in here, as you guys can see. I got kale in here as well, so the beds are going to get cleaned up. Some bigger stuff growing in here. I forget what this is that's growing in here. The thing is all over the place. And then I got my Brussels sprouts that are growing back here. That's what these are. This is my parsley, my cilantro. So you can see the Brussels sprouts, and they're growing in here great. And the temperature of the soil is 40 degrees. And yeah, this is a slow bolting cilantro. Pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can see that. The camera might have been facing a weird way. And all these guys do is they get watered from the bottom in a watering system that's all the way over here. And water goes through all the beds. All the beds are connected. And I literally water this every other Sunday. So this Sunday, nobody's getting watered. They'll get watered next Sunday. The lights stay on for 12 hours. This room is not heated at all, and that's it. This is one of my other growing rooms. And this is literally just to grow stuff indoors for the winter. Just so I have something indoors. And then some stuff will be out here in the summer, because this room does kind of work like a hothouse sometimes. We also got 2 greenhouses outside. Plus might also be starting something else. You gotta figure out where that's gonna go. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna just wrap this up quick before I ramble on. This is Mike from Growtopia. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Get out there and grow something. Stay tuned for more. There's a lot more coming. Later.